a new revertee, just reverted back to Islam. And then he says he was fasting. While he was sleeping, he had a wet dream. Then he went to pleasure himself. Then to the point that he ejaculated. At what stage did the fasting break, and what could he have done in that angle?
Very good question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and you're welcome to your favorite podcast show here called TIT4TAT with your boy, Kabir Olakunle Aziz. And as you can see here, well, it looks like a new background, a new face that you've not seen here before. Well, but don't worry, you're going to see this face a whole lot more, guys. Well, my name is Kabir, as I said earlier, and then you're welcome to the month of Ramadan. May Allah's one what I'll accept as an act of ibadah from us. I mean. So here we have Brother Ashraf here today, who we're going to be having some chit-chats on the topic here, Ramadan as a whole. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Brother Kabir. Just to say, Jazakallah khairan, I wondered, I watched your podcast and I was wondering, when is my turn going to come? So Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that your audience will now also have an array of different faces, and that I'm part of those faces. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Jazakallah for having me.
Ameen, wa yakum, ameen. So, Brother Ashraf, though, we are in the month of Ramadan, as we all know. And then, well, before we go deep into that, Palestine people are our friends. They are our brothers. And the war in Gaza and all that is really something that's so concerning to every Muslim, because, you know, the hadith of Rasulullah said, you Muslims are next of kin to one another. So whatever pain our brothers are feeling, we're supposed to feel it too. If not, then we're not supposed to be. What's your take on that? And then is there anything, how does it feel to you? I mean, the problem with Gaza.
Brother Kabir, this problem, as you know, has been gone on for several years, you know, post 70 odd years that this particular concern is there, and it's just exacerbated currently. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, through Allah's izzat, the world now is opening their eyes and they're understanding what is actually truly happening. The entire portion of the states that we normally fight against, which is Hollywood, even those particular actors. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us one thing, that iman and understanding and unveiling of the veil of the truth comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even the years that we've been trying to fight this fight, to unveil and to show the world the unjust that is happening within Palestine, our hands are really tied. It's only in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where we can play a role is to lift our hands in tahajjud salah, salatul layl, and raise our hands to the heavens and make dua. This is the only thing that we as mu'min, as Muslimin can do. Yes, we can send aid, we can go there as human shields, etc. But the best thing that we can do is dua. We underestimate the value and the power of dua, and we leave everything then else in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I said, the hearts are changing of the kuffar, of those that's in Hollywood, also now seeing the truth for what it is. So these mushrikeen, they're actually exposing themselves now. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always protect Palestine, because Aqsa is one of the cornerstones of the Muslimin. Before we had our Qibla as the Baytullah in Saudi Arabia, Makkah al-Mukarramah. At Masjid al-Qiblatain, as we know, Rasul was ordered within Salah via Jibreel alayhi to change his direction from Masjid al-Aqsa to Makkah al-Mukarramah, as in the Baytullah. So here we can see
there must be a reason for that. I mean, because Allah knows the kind of people these people are, and He wouldn't want us to also, you know, I mean, to be looking at the direction, because He knows one day they will say, after all, you said you believe, you are Muslims, you don't believe in what we believe, but yet you're still facing us.
I think the Qibla is still Aqsa. Yeah. See? Look, the wisdom lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But time will tell, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But Be as it may, Masjid al-Aqsa still sits deep in the essence of the Muslimin, and it holds true value. Also with the Isra and the Miraj, it happened and occurred from where? Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was taken from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Masjid al-Aqsa, and he ascended from there to the heavens. So there are many things that is attached to our deen as far as the Palestinians is concerned and as far as Masjid al-Aqsa is concerned. Without Palestine, there is no Muslimin. Without Aqsa, there is no Muslimin. So, as you truly stated, we are one unit. If our finger pains, the whole body is going to pain. If one essence of the world suffers as far as Muslims is concerned, the entire Muslimin will suffer and have that concern. So we keep them in our dua at all times. I mean, inshallah.
And you know what, I mean, with what is really happening now, I'm sorry we're supposed to be treating the topic Ramadan, but what you said here now just reminded me of something where, the Prophet ﷺ taught us that when we are fighting, when we are in war, please quickly take us through the kind of people that Muslims are not supposed to attack, like the children, the weak, and these are the people that this are beginning to kill. I mean, they are bombing the hospital, killing the children, and all that. Can you just take us through why? And then I want you to just please help us, juxtapose these two, so that Islam teaches us that we should not harm children, we should not harm elderly ones, we should not harm women and all that. But these are the main targets of these bad guys. Do you want to please just shed some light on that?
Jazakallah for that question, and it's very important for us to understand the engagement of war. So the sunnah of war with regards to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he used to go into battle, even so much so that there was a Sahabi Karam that was younger, they weren't mukallaf, they weren't baligh, and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, rather remain and stay with the village, with the people, opposed to coming to war. So even there he protected the young ones. So not only going into war and crossing that particular line, it was also seen from Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's viewpoint that women and children engaging into war activity, it was a sunnah of his to rather let them stay at home, and elderly people. So similarly, when he used to engage in war, and even if he was victorious within those particular wars, he will look at the elderly and children and women folk and order his Sahabi Karam not to harm, because that is the engagement in the sunnah of war. Yes, the West has come with also the interpretation of engagement of war, of which this is also part and parcel of, but they are not looking at the rights of these particular engagement of war. And therefore I stated earlier that the mushrikeen now and the kuffar, they're actually unveiling the truth for the rest of the world themselves.
Because you can
and this
see
is what
now.
they are seeing. They are seeing that the engagement of war is also not being adhered to. Where children, women, the innocent is being bombed and victimized. And not even victimized. Victimized we can still take and we can still tolerate to a certain. But now they are being killed and bombarded with these activities. As you rightfully said, hospitals are now being targeted, schools are being targeted. So they are not doing any favors to themselves. And Allah's wrath will come, because those that's oppressed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take it upon himself in order to seek revenge on those people.
And do you even know that, recently there is this news that say now there is a new map now of the Middle East, where now the map of Palestine is not even there anymore now. The only thing you see there is Israel. And subhanallah, is this not supposed to be a big genocide? And then what do you think the world can do? I mean, and the good thing that South Africa is really taking a very big step, in this struggle to say, look, because they remember that, during the struggle of South Africa, then Mandela says South Africans are not free until the Palestinians are free too. And now, South Africa has really taken it upon themselves now to say, okay, fine, guys, enough is enough. I was watching the live broadcast of the World Court. I think World Court.
The World Court, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of weeks back, where they were having when they're having the precedents now, where people are now, where all these evil acts are now being shown to the world. So, what do you think, or in what way do you suggest maybe the world or the whole world can come up? Apart from, I understand, yes, we're going to support them in prayers. Is there any other thing that we can also do? I understand with our voice.
Oh.
And then, when Rasulullah said, Rasulullah said, if you don't like something, first avoid this. First, fight it with your mind, then fight it with your words. Then your action has to be. What are the kind of actions that you think the world can take that would also, help, to stop this permanently, if possible, inshallah.
So this is a very difficult one, and I tell you why.
Hmm.
There's a lot of protesting happening, and I can tell you this, Brother Kabir, within the city that I'm from, Cape Town, which is the initiator against the genocide that is happening within Palestine. They are the forerunners. With regards to protest, there's many of them happening. In Sandton itself, the protest was at the Israeli embassy. Then it went to the USA embassy, right? And that is the beginning of the world standing up. And as I said, within the United States itself, now you will find that there's a lot of entrepreneurs, billionaires, movie stars, and I know this is taboo within Islam with regards to music and movies, etc. But these are the people that is now standing up.
Mafsa, I don't know if you saw this video of this American soldier that burnt himself, and while he was burning himself in front of American embassy, he was, and his last words were "Free Palestine." Free, I don't know. Did you see that video?
I saw that video.
Subhanallah. I mean, if you can see American soldiers themselves coming up and say, "Enough, enough is enough."
So why I'm going this route with regards to the non-Muslims, and that's why I mentioned again Hollywood stars, the singers, right? You will even find that famous singers, before they do their concert, they will talk about Palestine and the freedom of Palestine. And again, this is Allah's work in play. But we have to ask ourselves the question, and we have to be truthful, and we have to look internal to ourselves. Where is the Muslim world? Where is Saudi Arabia?
That question I have a question to continue with that, but please continue. Don't let me stop you.
Where is Egypt?
Where's Dubai?
Where are they? The UAE, where are they? None of the Islamic states are standing firm and making statements out there. Yet it's the non-Muslims coming to the fore and making those statements. In our own country, who were the ones that stood up? It was, yes, from an Islamic point of view, it was the Muslims within Cape Town. I will not say it was the organization, with the Muslim organization within Cape Town. I will say it was the Muslimin in Cape Town that mobilized, that stood up against, right? But who was it in our country? It was our government that stood up. And our government is governed by, we governed by a non-Christian state. But yet they stood up.
And the funniest thing is this, right? South Africa is also colonized by the British, isn't it? And now they're standing by it. And South Africa is an Anglophone country. They speak English, and yet they are lending their voices. Now, that now brings me now to this last one here before we jump in, though. Now, what do you say about... I understand a lot of ustaz, a lot of, sheikhs have come up to discuss about this, though. Saudi Arabia has just come up now with this new law that a section of the country now can start consuming alcohol. Did you hear of that? What do you think led to that, and why?
So I've recently come from Umrah. So I've seen a lot of changes since I've been for Hajj and other Umrahs. It's amazing amazing in a negative way, the way that Mecca and Medina has changed. So there are many things that the crown prince, has now changed within Saudi, which is for the worst of our deen and not the betterment of our deen. So you've touched on the alcohol assumption of alcohol, and this they are trying to get the Muslimin within Saudi, as well as the visitors, and to conscientize them in thinking that it is okay. So it's in a way sanitizing them to get them through to the World Cup period that they are getting ready for. So that when the visitors come, it is not something that is new. It is something that has been already
And that now
embedded.
they're playing music too now. I mean,
This is happening rife within Jeddah.
Allah.
So Jeddah, people will say it's about 2 hours away from Mecca, but it's 2 hours away. It is around the corner from Baytullah, and the activity, some of the activity is not 2 hours away. It's 1 hour away. So I'll make an example. There is a very iconic mosque that is a mosque that is built on water. So it's one of the first mosques that was built on water on the Red Sea. And this was just to showcase how powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created mankind in order to facilitate a mosque on water.
Subhanallah.
And this was one of the first that was done.
Allah, Allah.
And it is not a masjid that is a sunnah to go to, but it is for you to reflect the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in giving mankind the intelligence. So Hujjaj, as well as the people that has performed Umrah, used to go, the Mutamirin used to go there in order to explore the mosque and the beauty of it. Now what they've done is they've created a yacht club. A yacht
with
club.
Janaba now will then.
It's partying around there. The mosque is
Allah.
closed. You can't enter the mosque. There's non-Muslimin that is surrounding the area. They have yachts. In the evening after Isha Salah, they will now have parties and music, etc. And this is right next to the masjid. So this is now the condition of our Muslimin.
Allah.
And we ask the question, where is Allah's mercy? But yet, the focal point of our deen, where Islam started, within Saudi Arabia, with our beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These are all the things that is happening there now in the center of the universe. But all we can say, Brother Kabir, we have to make shukr that we still have our iman, and we have to protect this iman by talking about these things. Yes, we're talking about our own brethren, and it's not good. It's painful to talk about it. But if we're not going to talk about it, how are we going to address it? How are we going to rectify? How are we going to open people's eyes?
Well, I wouldn't know how true this is though. Some people said um, things started going bad when Muawiyah took over back then in the early ages of Islam and all that, and then probably that it might be maybe because these are grandchildren of the same man. Wallahu alam. I wouldn't want to say anything that I'm not so sure about. But there was this sheikh who I was listening to I was watching his commentary one day, and he says, "Do you know the main reason that the Saudi Arabia has allowed that or has agreed to allow that in the country in that Mubarak center is because I mean they are looking for ways to also have some ammunition, some weapons of war, and then the Western world are the ones who have this, and then they've given them the conditions. Now look, if you want us to come to your rescue, but then I'm looking at this. I mean, it's not only America that has that. If that is what they're looking for, Russia has it, and we all know Russia is not really in good time with America. We have Germans and all that. Must Saudi Arabia, I mean, transact such a business with the West, and then for them to then say, okay, fine, now if you want us to come and assist you and all that, you have to allow haram in places that are close to haram. You have to allow this, allow that, allow this, allow that. Do you also think that might be the reason? And then maybe they're trying to also, I mean, they're trying to protect the economy of Saudi Arabia, or you're just indifferent? Do you think what that sheikh said was true? Because he went on and on to, I mean, to justify it, to say, okay, fine, look, the main reason he thinks they did that was because, they also want some Western support.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely truth in that. There's various reasons why they're going down that route. So, firstly, the oil that is in Saudi was the factor of the underpinning of the value of the dollar, right? So the trade between the oil between Saudi and America was already constituted back then, and it was then fixed that the real against the dollar will be at a certain rate, and it will not fluctuate,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And henceforth, each Hujjaj or Mutamirin that went to Saudi Arabia for Umrah or Hajj used to take dollars because they knew the dollar will get them exact amount of riyals because it's fixed. That term has come to an end. So the dollar now is not backed by oil any longer, right? So the States itself is also looking at new allies and to see where they can forge new relationships, etc. From a Saudi point of view, they went in bed with the States because they looked at States as the big brother. The big brother for the entire world. And you know the saying, if the States sneeze, the rest of the world will get a cold, because they felt that the States is the pivotal point, as in if they make a move, the rest of the world will make a move. And Saudi wanted a bit of that glamour and a bit of that protection,
But why though?
in order for them also to feel that they have power. So they wanted to be associated with the best of those that have power, which was the States at the time. Things are changing. We've got BRICS coming in. Saudi wants to become part of the BRICS.
Are they part of it already though? Have they
I
been
know they put an application forward. Whether they've been accepted or not, that is still to the powers that be, of the president and the committee of BRICS. I know France has also knocked on the door to become part of BRICS.
Okay.
So things are changing.
Islamically,
China.
what do you think that's gonna do Islamically? Do you think it will be a good advantage? It will be a good thing on the Muslim world side. With the BRICS now that the power is shifting away from the West now.
I would say definitely it is, because the at the realm of BRICS is our president from South Africa, and we are always looking at the benefit of those that's oppressed. We always look at it from that angle, and we will always stand up for those that's oppressed. So if it is that any Muslimin in the world is oppressed, then yes, definitely BRICS will look after that factor. So if you're asking me the question, if there is a positive spin with regards to BRICS, I definitely think so.
I also
For
think
the
so too.
Muslimin.
I also think so too. All right, enough of that anyway, because we're not talking economy in the world right now. We're trying to talk about Ramadan. So, my Sheikh, Ramadan. But before we go into Ramadan, though, can you please tell us the meaning of and the importance of fasting in Islam before we get to the Ramadan?
Inshallah. So before we start there, we send salutations upon our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions, the tabi'een wa tabi'een, and those who knew him.
Ameen.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. So this is an ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed in the Quran with regards to Ramadan, specifically telling us that Ramadan is compulsory, or fasting is compulsory upon us, right? Fasting is compulsory upon us, just as fasting has been made compulsory upon those before us, right? So you ask the question, what does fasting mean to us? So it's a very open-ended question, and it's a very important question, because if we don't understand what fasting means, then we're not going to get the essence out of Ramadan, right? So to answer you, fasting is, in definition, is the abstinence of something or some things
That we enjoy.
that we enjoy in order for us to reflect. So it is for us to put ourselves in a seclusion of our body. Perhaps not physically, but we put our body in a seclusion with actual things that we enjoy, rather doing, eating, saying, listening, and seeing. So it is the entire body that is going through that particular fast, and not only one aspect or two aspects that we might think it is. And then we put ourselves in a seclusion, in a bubble. But why we do that is in order to reflect upon who is our Creator and who are we, and how do we draw closer to our Creator. And that in its essence is why we fast and what is fasting about. So if we look at nations before us, those nations were also given the obligatory fasting, but which is different to what we do, which was shown by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Muslimin. But we cannot take away of what the generations or what the previous generations done before us, take it away that we are in a better state than what they are. The only people that is in a better state or different from one another, from us to previous nations that have fasted or still fasting, is iman, taqwa. And that is the level of your iman and level of taqwa. And that's the only thing that can differentiate us from those that have also been given that obligatory fast before us.
So then, does fasting mean only abstinence from food and water alone, or what are other things that we're supposed to also abstain from during fasting?
So this is what I've alluded to now in my definition of fast.
Yeah.
So
Because I want you to please
We-
spell it out
we-
so that
yeah.
people out there watching can easily know, okay, this, at least.
100%. So we first of all need to dispel the fact that fasting is abstinence of food and drink, because
Okay.
these are the two factors that we normally speak about, right? So when we fast, we abstain from food and drink, and that is your fasting. So we need to move away from that narrative. Fasting, in essence, is staying away from anything and everything that will take you away from the closeness of your Creator. I.e., if we stay away from food and drink, right, what does it do to the body? It makes it weak. So in essence, that weakness is supposed to keep you grounded, that you are not able to walk towards. Now here's where the limbs come in, because you fast with your limbs as
You
well.
don't have energy.
You don't have energy to walk towards haram.
Okay, I never saw that fasting in that sense before.
So
though.
the limbs is also fasting, right? And then when you realize this, you make adhkar, you make dhikr. So your tongue is now making dhikr. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So now your tongue is in fasting. It will give you the essence of your eyes not looking at haram, at looking at the Quran. So your eyes is fasting. Your ears is not listening to haram. It's listening to the tilawat of Quran or dhikrullah, or you listen to lectures as far as deen is concerned, or motivational speeches, etc. Your ears is fasting. So in essence, your entire body is in fast mode. So the refraining or the abstinence of water and drink is one aspect, but is to bring your body intact and to ground your body in order for the rest of your body to engage into that particular fast. So again, with regards to the utterance of bad words, you're gossiping about your neighbor or your brother or speaking ill about whomever. This will take the essence of your fast. It will reduce the level of your fast for that particular day. So by way of example, if you start off your fast and you pour a glass of water full, right? And we want to depict visually as in where your fast is going. and you put a glass of water at the time of suhoor on the table, and now you have started your fast. And here, Brother Ashraf now goes outside of the mosque and he speaks bad about Brother Kabir. The water reduces.
Oh.
I take my limbs towards haram. In watching haram, two types
Astaghfirullah.
of haram within my fast, it reduces. It does not break my fast, but it reduces the value of my fast.
Okay.
By the time you break your fast at the end of the day,
you would have this little
you
reward.
have this little bit of water which you started there.
Subhanallah.
So now we have to
Subhanallah.
ask ourselves, working it backwards, is the true essence now that we have stayed without water and drink, didn't we, for that entire day? But now when we break our fast, the water within that glass is this much opposed to that. So is the true essence staying away from water and drink? Is that the true essence of fast? So now we answer ourselves, it's not.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Okay, cool. That reminds me of this this email I received from a new Revertee into Islam. This brother sent me a message. I mean, last year he said, well, when he just got into it, remember I said a new Revertee, he just reverted back to Islam, and then he says he was fasting, and then because he used to have a girlfriend and all that before, so then because he was fasting, he couldn't do any because this fasting is for adults anyway. So I believe we can say some things. So he couldn't engage in some intercourse and all that. So while he was sleeping, he had a wet dream, and then because he had a wet dream, he just thought, okay, fine, at least I thought my fasting would have taken I'm fasting, I'm holy. I don't expect Allah to just look at me and make me have this on me. Then he didn't stop there. Then he went to pleasure himself. Then to the point that he ejaculated. At what stage did the fasting break, and what could he have done in that angle? Remember, he's a new Revertee. So now, did the fast break when he had the wet dream, or when he went to pleasure himself and then then relieve himself and all that? At what stage, and what can he do in the future in case
To
that
circumvent.
happens?
Okay, very good question. So I'm going to answer you this question by another example, right? To qualify my answer.
Okay.
And this is for the viewers also to understand more simplistically as to what to do, right? In a circumstance like that. So many a times, and I'm sure even with a person that is 80 years old that has fasted since day one, when he became baligh, mukallaf, till date, he has not missed one fast, right? So that person can also not tell me that this has not happened to him or her. So during the day, you fast.
And he's sleeping?
No. You fast, you go to work, you engage. Because remember, as a Muslimin, fast doesn't mean it's an illness that you are sick, you cannot work, you cannot engage.
Because some people just get sick when they start fasting. They're like,
exactly.
no, I can't do it, I'm fasting.
Or they go to the doctor for a special certificate. Subhanallah. Allah protect us from that. I mean.
Ameen.
So now this brother engages and he's working, etc. And he actually forgets, because Ramadan is so embedded in him, or fasting is so embedded, that his body doesn't recognize that he's fasting. So that cramps isn't there any longer, etc. He's actually more energized. His mind is more powerful, is more clear. And this is what happens with people that often fast. So he actually forgets that he's fasting. And he goes to the kitchen at work. He opens the fridge and, just never mind, and he pours himself a glass of water and he drinks. And he drinks a bit, and then he realizes, Allahu Akbar, I'm actually fasting. Whether it is a sunnah fast or whether it is a fara'id in Ramadan, same difference, right? So the ruling is the same.
It's the same.
Right? Whether you fast for sunnah or you fast for fara'id, same ruling. So now the brother drinks, and then he realizes, Subhanallah, I'm actually fasting.
Oh, okay.
Is his fast now null and void, or does he continue? The ruling is he continues. his fasting is not broken. Why? Because he did not do this out of his own desire. He did not do this out of his own desire. He did this with not knowing, and not at that moment in time. He was in a moment where he thought it's okay.
Can we say that's
This
Allah's
is
gift for
this
him?
is from, and that's where I was going to go. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay.
This is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is from Allah. Henceforth, he continues. His fast is not batil. It is not null and void. He continues. So now let's come back to the question that you asked about this brother. So he sleeps, and this happens not only to reverts. This happens to youngsters, to men that is married for a long time. That you can fall asleep during the day, and here you get a wet dream. Right? You did not ask for it. It occurred. So it is not something that you initiated. It is something that occurred which is natural and nothing to be ashamed of. You go and perform ghusl, you continue.
You mean
Again,
ghusl janaba?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You perform a faraid ghusl and you continue. Allahu alam.
Without allowing water to go down his
Down
throat.
the throat, yes.
Okay.
If you do still feel uncomfortable, right, have a conversation with the ulama, with your nearest alim, and you can always also do another day outside of Ramadan in order to compensate.
And now he went now
To do a
pleasure
further.
himself, and he didn't know, and he thought, okay, fine, well, maybe my fasting still continues. If he does that, if he intentionally does that now, and then he pleasures himself and he's fine.
This is a different scenario.
Okay.
Yes. So now when he does that, he pleasures himself because now he's conscious of what he's doing. This is not allowed. Which
not
means
allowed.
now his fasting is definitely batil, it is definitely null and void.
Because he said, after all, nothing went into his mouth, and then they say it is not. It's mostly fasting is mostly what goes into your mouth that terminates it completely. But what comes out of your body sometimes might not, especially. And then also, if let's say one is fasting and then you're working and you have a cut, and then blood comes out of your body, does that also terminate fasting?
Again, from this is a definite issue and concern, but one needs to again look at the rulings within Islam, right? And you need to engage with your closest alim within your area or ulama in order to understand what the ruling is. But a cut whereby blood flows, it needs to be a certain quantity of blood.
Oh.
So if you cut yourself and it's a small cut and a little bit of blood comes out, it is not going to weaken your body. So the ruling why it is that your fasting should be broken is because your body will be weakened with blood exiting.
Then when there's cut, then now something has to be done to
Yes,
stop
to
to
stop,
clot
yes.
the blood. Then are they allowed to put either spirit or iodine or anything? Is it allowed in Islam for one to put anything on that?
You can, in order to close the cut or to circumvent that there is excess of bleeding, right? But before we get there, we need to ascertain the amount of blood that was lost, right?
Okay.
And the amount of blood that is lost will then give you the ruling whether your fasting now is null and void, and you have to break your fast. Again, the ruling is there in order for you to look at the well-being of your body. It is not just because there's a cut, right? So if it is that you as an individual, because some men are brave and bigger, etc., and some men like myself, we are small built and we see one cut, we faint.
Some people are exaggerating though.
Yeah.
You see, I have a cut now.
And that's why
Let me
it
go and
says,
drink water.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. From one to another, it differs, and that's why to consult the ulama is key in this aspect and in all regards. Don't just make an assumption or a ruling on your own, because once you make a ruling on your own, the person that is giving you the ruling is shaitan.
Allah.
So it is best to consult ulama in every aspect that we do. But just in general, yes, if you cut and there's excess of blood, then it can be construed that your fasting is null and void, and you have to pay that back in again at a later stage after Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah, I think that one was very clear enough. So if it happens to you out there, note down the Sheikh has told us now. Consult your ustaz, your local ustaz, so then they can put you through if you are not so clear on this side here. And then also now my next question is this, right? Ramadan. What makes Ramadan so special? I mean, we know we have other fastings in Islam. We have our Mondays and Thursdays. We have the ones in Muharram. We have the ones in Shaban. What makes Ramadan so special? I mean, and the whole month is for fasting. Is we have to make sure we worship Allah. Why do you think Allah made that month this special?
So again, I like to do this. I don't like to answer the question directly. I normally go to to give you a picture, to paint you a nice picture, and then we come back to that question.
Inshallah.
So, as we know as Muslimin, we have various arkan within Islam, the pillars of Islam, the 5 pillars that we need to adhere to. But the last pillar is what?
Hajj.
Hajj. So the same question can be asked. Why is it that Hajj is last? And everybody that you ask that has been on Hajj, if you ask them, if you sit down with them and ask them, how was Hajj? Wallahi, there won't be enough time, airtime, in order to record that person's conversation because it was so special. And each and individual that you ask separately will have a different experience, a very unique experience to that individual.
Allah.
Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has invited them personally.
Al-Hajj ashurun ma'lum wa musfara fi inna al-Hajj. Okay.
So the reason why Hajj is last is for us to understand the first 4 arkans of Islam, to perfect this to the best that we can. Remember, we cannot perfect. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the closest in perfecting this deen, not us. Right? So it is there in order to facilitate the closeness, to bring the closeness to the perfection of these arkans. Your salah, your zakah, your sawm. And to conclude that you believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Is that why Allah then put it on the 9th month as well? So then, okay, fine, we can enjoy our first 8 months. Then on the 9th month as well, then we can say, okay, fine, well, let's move closer to Allah.
Let's move closer.
Why do you think so, though? 'Cause
So same as here. So we facilitate our journey, right? In order to get to Hajj. So that we can roll all of these things up into Hajj. So we understand what our salah is. What is the salah for? To bring us close to our Creator. Your minor sins is forgiven from your salah to salah. It's in order for us to engage with one another as Muslimin, as brothers, with no malice. There is no bias, because we understand you were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so was I. The only thing that differentiates us is our iman and taqwa. The same with our zakah. Right? The same when we proclaim Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, that Allah is one, and only Allah we worship, and only Allah we ask for assistance. When we go for Hajj, all of this is rolled into that particular realm. So the same with Ramadan. And you said it rightfully. All these months are there. You also mentioned Sha'ban, Rajab, and we have Mondays and Thursdays that we fast.
Even
We have
Muharram.
Muharram. We have the 13th, 14 and 15 with each month that we fast. Right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam give us that opportunity through the sunnah to fast, and taught us if we fast these 3 days, then it's as if you have fasted the entire month.
Allah.
Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to teach us to fast on a Monday and a Thursday, because our deeds is presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on these days, so that the deeds is presented in a nice way. So all of these aspects is actually teaching us that we need to get closer to our Creator and prepare ourselves for this month coming,
So then, does that mean
for the
now-
special month.
Okay, then does that mean now? I mean, what you just said now. I mean, especially about the Monday and Thursday, Friday, the Monday and Thursday fasting. I think I can liken it to if you have a mother now, or say your father, because a lot of children are more scared of their father than if you have a father who says, "I want you to make sure you're always, you're always clean. Make sure you're always clean, and then on Thursday, I expect you to come and take your pocket money, for the week." So then it means if you're going to your father on that Thursday, try and wear at least white. So then even if he doesn't see you, Monday to Wednesday, on Thursday when you're going there, at least if you appear white on what you can, okay, maybe this guy has been at least, he understands that he's supposed to be clean anyway. So is that why? Because then Allah wants us to, to be close to Him every time. Then only on Thursday, when the malaika, the angels will take our deeds back to Him, and then then if they take the deeds back to Him in with us in the state of purity, in the state of fasting, then that will also increase more with our rewards and all that. Is that how, can you liken it to that?
100%. So, we can do what we do, right? As in our actions. So we need to do and exert ourselves with regards to our amal into deeds. But at the end of the day, we're at the mercy of our Creator.
Allah.
So henceforth, the sunnah that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has came to teach us is, when we fast on these days, we at least asking Allah, have mercy upon us, and taking our deeds. We know it's not going to be perfect. But on this day, I'm fasting as well, just for your sake, to get closer to you. So take our deeds in purity, in the most purest form as possible, inshallah. And yes, and your example is perfect. So you try and be as pure as you can to present yourself in order to get the full reward. So if you're gonna go to your dad with dirty clothes, and you're supposed to get allowance, yeah, he's gonna look at you. He's gonna give you maybe a bit of it, or he's gonna tell you try next week.
Okay.
But if you're gonna present yourself in the best possible clothing that you have,
white kind of
he's gonna say,
plain.
my boy is listening. Yeah, here you go, and here's bonus also.
Allah,
For
Allah,
trying.
Allah.
So this is who our Creator is. Our Creator will, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, look upon us and say, my slave is not perfect, but see, he's even fasting this day. Let me accept his reward. And also for next week, I put obstacles in his way. Let me remove that obstacles for him, to make it easy for him, inshallah.
Allah. All right, guys. I think we still have a lot to cover in when it comes to fasting, but I think this is where we have to put an end to this for today's episode. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. So then before we leave though, and we just want to Brother Ashraf to please give us some beautiful dua, and then also please remember the Palestinians in your dua, inshallah, before we just wrap it up.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ya Jamaatul Muslimin, listeners out there, Jazakallah for this brother having me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him always for doing this work and getting the message out there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in this month of Ramadan.
Amen.
Make it a special one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our ibadat, the du'as that we make and the du'as that is made on behalf of us. The Palestinians and all of those Muslimin that is suffering out there, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their status dunya and akhirah. If it is not in this world, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate their status in Jannatul Firdausul Nuzula. Amin ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, you Al-Khafoor Ar-Rahim. We know that you are the most merciful, you are the most high, we are the most low. We don't know, you know. Those du'as that we perform, those du'as that is not good for us, Ya Allah, you don't give it to us. You only give us the du'as that is beneficial to us and is beneficial to the mu'mineen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamun ala ashrafil mursalin. Sayyidina wa habibana wa shafi'ana wa maulana Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma ya musarrif al-qulub, sarrif qulubana wa qulubana ala dinik. اللهم يا مثبت فالقلوب ثبت قلوبنا وقلوبنا على طاعتك. توبة يا الله، توبة يا رب، توبة النصوح، توبة قبل الموت، توبة نستغفر الله. سبحان ربنا عزة ما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بارك الله
I mean, Jazakallah khairan, sir. All right, so we'll come away next time. Keep your fasting safe, and please do not do something that is not so good. And you know what Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said when one of the Sahaba came to the Prophet, he says, Ya Rasulullah, what is your definition? I think it was they said it was Rasulullah that asked, who can tell me the meaning of sin? Everybody was saying, "I know, doing bad things." This. Then he says, "No, the sin is something that you do that you don't want other people to see you while doing it. That is the purest definition of sin. So now that you know this, now please do not do things that you know when others see you, they will be like, ah, really? Especially in this month of Ramadan. See you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.